Crone's getting a split. Mizzy in front of the 100. Crone goes up the inside and Crone takes the lead in the Kilmore. Crone draws clean out from Mizzy. It's a Queensland victory. Crone beat Mizzy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mock Sports Presents the Quaddie Poddy. Good to be back. Haven't heard the theme song in a while. My name, as always, Mitchell Cashmore, joined by Nick Hind. How are you, brother?
Good, mate. Good to be back. Really excited. Wow. Should be good.
Yes, you haven't heard our voices over the airwaves from the Quaddie Poddy. You've definitely heard us in Off the Track, but we're back to run down some racing cards, and luckily, we've got our first ever sponsor. Well, we own it. It's the mocksports.com.au. We're now officially brought to you by the mocksports.com.au. We launched our website on the first of the year. Happy New Year, punters. And it's been going great guns since, hasn't it, Nick?
Yeah, it's been good. Yeah, like you said, we've been doing a couple of interviews off the track, which are up there on our website or on Spotify, wherever you listen on. You can go have a look at that. Yeah, you can go give them a listen. Dylan Gibbons, we've had Tim Clark, and then we've got Gary Moore coming out in the next couple of days. So, yeah, should be pretty good.
Yes, I believe sometime next week our interview with the legendary trainer Gary Moore will drop. Punters. Get keen for that. But for now, we're all business, all racing, mate. We haven't looked at some cards in a while. I've been doing my weekly rundowns on the website, of course, and on the socials, and you've been putting out some sporadic tips here and there, but it's been a while since we've been sitting here in the studio running down a card race by race. Are you nervous to get back into it for the year?
Never nervous, mate. Yeah, it's been a while. I've been looking after, looking at my horses that are coming up and about, and there's a couple of good ones hopefully coming through, which we can touch on if you want. But yeah, it's pretty exciting. I know I'm finally getting into it as an owner, even if it's a small percentage, but pretty exciting. So.
Yes, I was going to ask you that. Of course, punters will remember in our last episode last year, Nick announced that he is now a horse racing ownership mogul. He owns about 20 horses, so give us a little bit of a stable update, mate.
Yeah, stable update's looking pretty nice. Yeah, a lot of them are just pre-training, education and kind of stuff. Like they're real young 2-year-olds getting into it. But there's 2 or 3 that just had a jump out. Yeah, one horse has to be gelded, unfortunately. So
Gelded,
gelded, whatever it is. Yep, gelded. Yeah, has to be gelded. Just not the right one for a colt. Can't be a stallion, so we're going to get that one gelded. That's with Peter Moody. Yeah, like I said, one filly trained by Annabelle Neesham got and won her jump out pretty convincingly by 4 or 5 lengths, which is pretty
Very
good.
nice.
So, yeah, they're looking to target her in the Blue Diamonds. So
That's big.
that's huge, mate.
That
Who
is
knows?
big.
So, yeah, could have a Group 1 horse coming through. But, yeah, other than that, the rest of them are just going through their pre-trainer work. But, yeah, happy to touch on it every couple of weeks when we do our rundowns, how they're going, and give the tip when it's coming in, or say not get on it, it's run for fitness. But yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, we'll definitely have a bit of content coming out. When they go to the trials, go to the races, we'll be there, cameras, microphones on, making sure we're covering it. But any of them named yet, or are they still all unnamed?
A couple of them are. I can have a quick look for you. A lot of them are coming out now. But yeah, I think there was one Cheerful Legend. That's a 5-year-old. That's not that was named, obviously. That raced, I think, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, New Year's Day, Canterbury.
Yeah.
Had a good run. I watched it live. I tipped it, of course, on my rundown on the website, and it ran good. I'd be happy with it if I was the owner, but of course I'm not. You're the owner, so what were your thoughts on the run?
It was all right. It was running for fitness. It wasn't running for a win, so it's coming into it now. Yeah, I wasn't upset with it, but yeah, I don't know. It's all right.
It was in a good field. Very, very good field. It was always going to be tough to win, but yeah, I'd be happy with it. Good first up run, like you said. Wasn't its peak run, wasn't a target, so hopefully bigger things to come for Cheerful Legend there.
Yeah, so we got a Gave.
Agave or Agave?
I don't know.
Agave, if it's Agave, that's up your alley. That's tequila. That?
Potentially.
Bit of
I don't
alcohol
know.
for you?
So yeah, obviously Cheerful Legend, Mega Strike, Up and Comer, and then the rest are unnamed. So there's still about 15 that are unnamed. So yeah, pretty cool.
I like it. Agave. I could get around that.
Yeah, 100%. Have a drink with the horse.
Yeah, exactly. You know, take a shot of tequila every time it wins. Hopefully you're getting pretty pissed by the end of the day. But when when it comes to my ownership, I think it's time to wind down. We went to the Maria Cup with Highly Desired and ran no good. Couldn't really get into it at all. Led, tired, faded. Couldn't run out a full 1200 or 1400, whatever it was. So I don't know. I think retirement's on the horizon, but you never know with these sort of things. The trainers can get a little bit of a second kick out of him. We thought we were retiring him 2 years ago, and then he ended up a midway level horse. So who knows? But I think as Nick's starting to ramp up, I'll be winding down, and I'll just be watching his horses go around and win Group 1s, apparently.
Yeah, who knows? Imagine that.
Nick Highland in the ownership box at Flemington or I can't remember if the Blue Diamond's at Flemington or Caulfield. It's at one of the two, but down in Melbourne, members area with all the rich owners. You're the next Brace Sokolsky, mate.
Oh yeah, look, the cameras would be all over me. They'd be like, "Who's this bloke in the box?" But it's pretty exciting. So
can't wait till Racing.com's interviewing you as the winning owner.
Yeah, yeah, great run. check the podcast out. That's all I want.
All right, mate. Follow a question, of course. Every time we have the podcast, followers can submit their questions. We've got one this week from @Queen and Mitch. Asked, what's the main factors of form that we look at? So, yeah, we've gone through this before on the podcast. So
Same
we'll
question every week.
Touch on it quickly. We're going to get a proper article out on themoxsports.com.au under our punter education segment. We already have how to read a form guide. So if you're out there listening and you don't know how to read a form guide, head to the website. The link will be in our show notes, or you can just type up www.themoxsports.com.au and you'll find it there. But we'll quickly go through what each of the mocks like to look at, and then we'll put it up on the website later. But for now, Nick, what's the main factor of form you look at?
Well, it's a bit different. So this time of year, obviously, your 2-year-olds are running, and they don't actually have any previous runs to go off. So yeah, your jockey plays a big part. I do think the trainers, how they train 2-year-olds are a big part of it as well. Like obviously, Gay Waterhouse has won a lot of 2-year-old races, and she's really renowned for a 2-year-old racing, so I think that comes into it. Your weight for your jockey is huge, which we've been through. The barrier is huge for a 2-year-old. Different stuff like that, and obviously you can see its trail jump outs and see how it goes. But when you're talking your spring carnival, which is a little bit different in my opinion, and your better known horses are running around. Obviously your previous runs, the as easy as it sounds, the more you watch racing and the more you get to know how a horse runs, that's how you're going to get to know your form.
100%.
How it runs on the distance, stuff like that. It all contributes, and we've been through it a couple of times. I'm pretty sure it's like the 4th or 5th time we've talked about it on the podcast. So that's what I go off. What do you go off, mate? But
yeah, you're right. We talk about it a lot. We might have to have not only a article on the website, but just a full episode dedicated to it, because we just get asked so many times and we can just point them towards the article or point them towards the episode. But for me, as you touched on, previous runs are a really important part, and I get all over the previous runs. I like to look at who they've beaten or who they've run behind. If that horse that they've beaten or they've run behind a horse that would be winning the race that they are in, I have a go. So for instance, let's pull a bunch of names out of the hat. Let's say Alligator Blood and Zaki and I'm Thunderstruck are all lining up. Let's take a look at their previous runs. Alligator Blood beat I'm Thunderstruck in the last start. So Alligator Blood's looking very likely to win this race, whereas I'm Thunderstruck has run second before to the likes of Zaki and Alligator Blood. So also very primed to have a good run in this start. So if those two horses ever go into a race where the other one isn't in it, I'd be backing that horse. That's just a hypothetical with a bunch of random names, but if a horse has run behind a very talented horse that would be definitely winning that class, all over it. That's what I like to look at.
Yeah, fair enough. And there's just one more thing I like to touch on, which is I reckon it's taken mine to a new level in tipping decent winners. The track really plays a big part. Knowing your different tracks, I probably like your Moonee Valley is a lot different from your Ramwick and stuff like that. Rosehill's a lot different from Ramwick. Moonee Valley in particular, if you pick a leader for that field, it's such a short straight that
100%.
If it's leading coming into the bend, it's only got 200 metres to go, whereas if they're leading into the bend at Ramwick, they've got 400 metres to go.
Same with Flemington. Flemington's like a 600, 650
So
straight.
it's a lot different, and knowing your tracks, knowing your horses, it comes into it. And I think that's over the last 12 months, identifying that and finding. I think Moonee Valley would have been one of my best tracks last year, I reckon. I think I tipped 4 or 5 double-digit figures horses purely based off learning how the track runs and horses going around and that. So I think that's the biggest thing.
And Moonee Valley is typically very hard to tip because it's, like they say, it's where favourites go to die, because if a favourite's not up in that probably first 4 going around the bend, very hard to win, like you touched on, because the difference is, like you said, at Randwick, they can start to make their run at the top of the straight. Once they get in around the corner, they've built up enough energy, straight time to go whooshka. But with Moonee Valley, unless you're a leader and you're right at the front going that straight, you need to make your run at the 300, 400 metre mark like you do at Randwick, but you're all the way still in the middle of the bend at that point, which is completely different, as you can imagine, punters, than running in a straight line to having to run your hardest going around a curve. You're not getting as much momentum, all that sort of stuff, all the factors go into it. So you're 100% right, Nick.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, that really identifying that, and it changed a lot of gambling for me.
100%. But we'll touch on that more, of course, in the article like we mentioned, and potentially the future episode that we put out discussing punting in general. But now let's move into Magic Millions mode. All right? Currently it's on the Gold Coast right now. The sales have been going all week. Saturday is the big day where all of these rich horses that have been sold out of the Magic Millions, not Carnival, the Magic Millions sales, come together. All the races are made up of entire fields of horses that have been sold at the Magic Millions. All right, and it's a good race day. It's 10 races, bunch of talented horses come together, with the pinnacles being the 2-year-old classic and the 3-year-old classic. They're all the best juveniles coming out of the last few years of the sales, going head to head for millions of dollars in prize money. It is basically the premier sale that you want to be as a horse owner. You go to the Magic Millions sales, you buy what is supposed to be the next big star, and then you take them next year to the races, and hopefully they win the Group 1. They've already been a big purchases this year. I believe there's been an affiliate that's gone for 1.2, one for 1.6, one for 1.8, and then just yesterday we had a horse go for $2.6 million, Nick. Isn't
crazy.
That a gamble and a half?
Yeah, you wouldn't be catching me doing that, that's for sure. That's pretty crazy. If you got that kind of money to spend there, you're doing pretty well. So,
well, the reason is it was full sister. Like usually you go for the half brothers, half sisters, because it's very rare that a stallion will serve a mare twice, because a mare can only be served once a season, whereas a stallion can serve about 100 different horses if they wanted to. So it's very rare that you get a full sister or brother to a very talented horse. And of course, this one, I believe, full sister to Sunlight or something. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Won the Silver Slipper, third in a Golden Slipper, won the 2-year-old classic, went on and won about 3 more Group 1s as well, earned about $5-6 million in prize money, I think, something around that ballpark, or at least that's the money that it would be if with inflation and the change in prize monies. So they were all over it. The bidding actually started at 1.1 million. So you're already paying over $1 million just from the start of the bidding.
yeah, it's crazy.
But hopefully that horse goes on to be a star. We won't see it till late 2024, early 2025 when it steps out. The owners will certainly be hoping that it becomes a superstar because it has a lot of money to pay off. Last horse that was that expensive was what's the record for Magic Millions, but the last horse to go over $2 million, I believe, is now known as Profondo. And we know how much of a star that was for the first year, and then now he's a bit of a bust, eh?
Yeah, no. That's why it's such a gamble, but people love it.
Yeah, so we go back to last year's 2-year-old winner. It's Cool and Gatta, only sold for a few $100,000. They've already profited on it massively. And so let's touch on last year's Magic Millions because we absolutely dominated that day, Nick.
Yeah, we did. That was one of our best days last year, I think.
That's my best punting day ever.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Genuinely.
I remember that. I think it was like 7 out of 10, wasn't it?
7 out of 10, 6 out of 9. We tipped 2/3 of the card.
Yeah, it's crazy. But in saying that, we do have obviously 2 tips each race.
Yes.
We're 2 different punters. But
I do know that you tipped the winner in the first couple, and then I went on a bloody tear because we had a tipping comp where I wasn't really supposed to win. I set it up for the followers, and I just went in it for a bit of fun. And then I accidentally won the tipping comp and stole all the prize money that was supposed to go to a follower because I just couldn't stop winning. I think I tipped race 5 to 9. Like I just I tipped the whole Quaddie by itself. I was in the Hunter Valley. I wasn't even watching the races. I was on a wine tour.
I was playing cricket, I
I
remember.
put all my bets on in my account. All of a sudden, I look at it. It's full of money because I'd put them all on singles, put them all in multis, and then I put them all in combo multis, so the doubles, so they'd all won. And I'd taken over $1,000 in earnings off just like $50. It's best punting day in my life.
I remember playing cricket and I was batting and rolled around and I was in the middle of the pitch and I yelled to the sideline to my brother. I'm like, "Who won the 2-year-old? Who won? Who won?" He goes, "The Gat." I'm like, "Yes." It was crazy.
Then I was really happy because I'd gotten on the futures as well, the GAT into King of Sparta, when they were both paying like $4 and like $10 respectively. That got up.
That was a
It
moral.
was huge. Yeah,
moral.
GAT was a moral, and we'll go into it. There is no morals in this year's races. There's no Cool Gatter. There's no King of Sparta. That is the clear top pick, but we'll get into that later. But hopefully, this year's Magic Millions is as successful as last year's.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Hope so. Let's see if we can back it up.
So, anything to touch on before we do go into those tips?
Got nothing, mate.
All right, mate, before we go into the tips, of course, we have to shout out our good friends at Dabble.
Yeah, you guys know the go by now. It's our number one betting site at the moment. Dabble's the spot to be. All the copy bet, all that kind of stuff. We actually did go down to their Dabble box.
Yes, we're in the Dabble
Melbourne.
box.
Great blokes down there. But yeah, they've changed Aussie gambling pretty much. You've got the copy bet feature where we put the bet on, you press one button, it's in your account, easy as that. And yeah, so good. We love those boys. And yeah, so we've just got over 15,000 followers on there. Crazy. So
100%. So make sure you are joining the 15,000 plus other punters out there following at the Mock Sports on the Dabble app. You can sign up with the show notes, the links in there, or just download the Dabble app and use the code TheMockSports when signing up. Let them know we sent you, and hopefully they'll bring us back down to the corporate box to say thank you.
That's it.
All right, mate. Heading up to Gold Coast now. It's very rare that we do a preview in Queensland as we're Sydney boys at heart. But the weather forecast for very minuscule rain on race day. Very, very minuscule. So who knows if it actually comes in. If it does come in, though, I can't imagine it being anything more than a soft 5. So we'll most likely be running on a good 4 deck all day there. And the rail is out a metre from the 950 metre mark to the 350 metre mark. True for the remainder of that. But there shouldn't be any bias. Last week, though, there was a clear bias towards those horses that were leaders and on pace. So you need to monitor it early, punters, because there could be a bias that comes into it. Then you speak of horses that we'll touch on later, like Empire of Japan, who's a pure back marker. He could be in a little bit of strife, but we'll touch on that later. So we head into the races, mate. Race number 1, we've got the Country Cup over 1,200 metres here. Having a black booker in the first, mate, has made this one pretty easy for me. You'll Be Missed has been in the best form of her career, winning 4 of her last 5. I know they've been over the 1,000 metre mark, and now she needs to run that extra 1,200, the extra 200, and she's only placed 1 time from 8 starts, 1,200 metre mark. But if you go back and look at those starts, they've all been from races that she's either been outclassed in, like the 2-year-old Classic a couple of years ago, like Group 3s, Group 2s, that she's not really been up to that sort of racing over the 1,200 metre mark. And she's come 4th a bunch of times. So, of course, that doesn't show up on her statistics in her wins and places, but coming 4th by only a couple of lengths, she's not too shabby over the 1,200 metre mark, in my opinion. So I think she's paying a nice price, $12 to win, $3.80 to... I'll happily take an each-way stab at that black booker all day. You'll Be Missed in the first for me.
Very nice. I would have gone with King Guther here, but he's drawn the car park, so I'm going to go with Xanthus. Barrier number 6, J4, Ford ridden. 4 starts this prep and hasn't missed a Quinella once. 2 of them being wins, decent price as well, $9.50 and $3.10 for a place. Bit of value there for the first for me.
Lovely.
Race number 2, you got the 900 metre 2-year-old debut race. Your guess is as good as mine, and I'd stay away from this one, punters.
100%.
I'm going to go with marching. As I mentioned earlier, I've got the 2-year-olds running around, and the messages that have come out of Gabe Waterhouse and Adrian Bott's camp, and the way they go about it, it's very impressive. They do them really well when they're young, and it's something I really want to see. So $13 for a horse who's already ran 3 trials, 1 win and 2 of them only losing by less than a length. I'm going to have to take a punt here with marching with our boy Timmy Clark on board.
100%, mate. I've agreed with you there. If Steel City doesn't get a start, because Steel City currently the second emergency sitting outside the field, I don't think it gets a start, but if it does, that's my tip, punters, because, I mean, like you said, it's a dartboard race. Anyone can really get up. If from a punting perspective, you probably wouldn't be getting on this race. Out of all of them on the day, this is the one you want to just sit back and watch, and then watch the golden slipper markets and blue diamond markets do its thing after the race. But Steel City, $6.50 if it gets a start. J-Mac goes on board. Her trials have been really, really clean. She looks primed for a big run, but like I said, probably doesn't make the final field. So $6.50 for Steel City would definitely be my play if it does. If it doesn't, I'm just sticking with you. $13 for Marching's great value there for a Gay Waterhouse. Timmy Clark ridden, should be forward from the barrier. Hopefully leads all the way and wins. 100%. But we move on to race 3, 2,200 metre mark. Zoom On should go to the front here, as does Too Much Caviar and So Dapper. But Zoom On and So Dapper will probably get the soft lead from the inside draw, while Too Much Caviar is drawn out. So we'll have to use a bit of petrol to get to the front there, I reckon. He'll still be settling up there, but he'll just have to use a bit more energy there. Zoom On is the one I'm going to have to be with here. One of the better stayers going around in the Summer Carnival at the moment. I think it's a high chance at $8 and $2.50 mark to place. So Avdallah goes on board. We'll give him a primo steer plus 6 kilo weight swing. Mate, you talked about how crucial the weight swing can be. So the favourite up there with Skylab, great horse, definitely has a chance, but $6 lighter is Zoom On and is at a better price. So I think Zoom On each way is the play to be having in race 3.
Yeah, it's a hard race to pick this one. I've leaned on Too Much Caviar, like you said. I'm hoping not too much petrol is used to get him down to the front. We'll likely try and lead the whole way, like its last 2 wins at Randwick, which is one on the trot. $11 and $3.50, my tip in the third, so that'll be me.
Lovely.
Head over to race 4 at the 1,200 metres, the $1 million Magic Million Syndicate. Wow, I like this race. Big names, 11-11, Scalapini, Rangers. Shout out to one of my mates, Beetle. He owns Rubitar.
Does he?
Yeah, and he's up in the Gold Coast watching this race.
Lovely.
So, yeah, should be pretty nice. We tipped 11-11 last year. It was one of our ones. I think we were both on it, to be honest. Yeah, and it won pretty easily. And, yeah, so I'm going to put it up there. Put an exotic play out there for Beetle. It's going to be trifecta. You got your favourite, Scalapini, 11-11, and Rubitar for a trifecta. However, my tip has to be 11-11. Great horse. $3.50. I think it's going to jump favourite as well. So, yeah, I think get on it as early as you can because it's just going to come in. 11-11, I think, should win this one pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm on 11-11 as well. Rumours have it that he's been a little sick in the last few weeks, but that doesn't draw me away from him.
Bullshit.
11-11 loves Magic Millions. Magic Millions is his playground. He is the king of the Magic Millions. He has won the last 3 years on Magic Millions Day. He's going to make it 4 out of 4 in my opinion.
Loves
J-Mac on board as well. Should jump, grab cover, pop out, run past him in the straight. $3.50, like you said. It's a bet I am definitely willing to have. 11-11 all the way in the 4th. As we move on to the 5th, 1,300 metres. Straight to the point again here. 11-11's a mock horse. So is this horse's Kiku. Who else would I possibly go on? We love her. She is our girl through and through. She has the class edge on this field by a mile. She has now been consistently running quite strongly in group company, especially in that Group 1 Empire Rose in the spring Ice Bath. She was only 3 lengths off the finish there. Outstanding run. I'm confident she gets it done here, $4.50.
Oh, I think it's too dry for her.
Really?
I don't know. I'm going to go with Jemea here. It's the best horse with the best good track record in the race. Tommy Berry's back, baby.
T. Berry. After that little break, he is back.
He's back and he's ready. $9.50 and $3.10 for a place each way play. Race number 6 here, and I'm really interested to see your thoughts here. Look, King of Sparta is your favourite, and wow, will he be hard to beat. He's the last year's 3-year-old Guineas winner.
Yeah.
He's going to be thereabouts again. But look, I don't like tipping the favourite. I'm going to go for some value here. I'm going Mautai. This horse is a serious player. Serious player last year. And I used to love getting on this horse. Love the silks. Anything with the light blue silks gets my eyes getting there, and I like this horse. So I'm beating 3 from 3 first up, and he's going there again. It's going to take everything to get over King of Sparta, but I'm liking his chances at $9 and $2.70 for a place.
Fair enough. Like you said, I'm on King of Sparta. I rarely tip a horse this short because I think a $1.80 horse is just a trap. But King of Sparta won for me in the Guineas last year. I think he wins for me again here. J-Mac on board. I'm on a lot of J-Mac horses today. I've just realised J-Mac is something I've been saying a lot, and I'm going to continue to say a lot. But gun dry tracker. Whenever he gets on the dry, he just goes different. I'll just have him in multis though, because at the $1.80 you can't have a play on him. If he gets over $2 on the day, I could possibly entertain a single bet, but at the moment he's just a multi-play for me. $1.80 for King of Sparta, I reckon take him. I just reckon wins. That's all I can say here.
Very nice. Do we go through to race number 7?
Okay, mate.
We'll go
Group
through it.
1, race 7. We're down to one of the big ones, one of the two big ones. The next two ones are the big group ones of the day. The Magic Millions 2-year-old classic is in race 7 over the 1,200 metre mark. Jeez. Like we said last year, Coolangatta was a moral. No Coolangatta this year. No standout.
There's no gap.
Like, there's been plenty of standout trials, but nothing like Coolangatta, who shattered the clock and then went on to absolutely dominate her 2-year-old season, apart from that failure in the Golden Slipper by just going down by a couple of lengths there. But you got Sovereign Front and Empire of Japan as the third favourites. The Snowden-trained horses there, Jamie Carr and James McDonald, sharing the top of the market. Sunsource is up there, $21. You could entertain that. Royal Entrance is a horse you could entertain. Godfather, that's another one.
Entertain any of them, honestly. Like, they're all
Infatuation,
good horses.
Fire Lane, Platinum Jubilee, Croatian Bell, Summer Loving, Skirt the Law. The list goes on. These are all the best 2-year-olds that have showed their hand so far in the last 2 months since they were allowed to debut. And these are the horses that are most likely going to go on and try and get to the Golden Slipper. Of course, not all of them will be in the Golden Slipper. I have a sneaky feeling that we haven't even seen the winner of the Golden Slipper yet. Big call, but I don't think we've seen it yet. Last year we didn't see Fireburn until, only a couple months beforehand. I think that might be the case this year as well. But I think the two horses coming out of the Gimcrack Stakes and the Breeders' Plate, the Empire of Japan and Platinum Jubilee, one of them has to be the winner here, because if you go back and watch those races, just phenomenal runs from both of them. The class on those wins looked like they were generational talents. But of course, you can't say that with a 2-year-old. They might come out in their 3-year-old season and be completely bust. But for now, they're peaking early, and you want a horse that peaks early in their career in this sort of race. You don't want a horse that's going to mature over time, because you'll be wanting to back them in 10 months' time in the spring or 12 months' time next autumn. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. It's pretty... Obviously, it's an open race. 2-year-olds are not my thing. In saying that, Coolangatta was just the obvious choice last year and got on it, even though it was the favourite because it wasn't losing. It's tough. It is tough. I would say I would have entertained Fire Lane if it didn't draw the outside as a bit of a roughy chance. But my heart's been set on Platinum Jubilee since, like you said, that run earlier in the year.
It's freakish.
It was crazy. It was crazy. As soon as that ran, I went straight to the futures market for Golden Slipper. Tab Sportsbet, put money on it straight away. And it's in my futures market. I think it's paying like $18, $19, something like that. It's crazy. And I'll jump it like, if it gets anywhere close, I'll jump like $6, $7.
It'll be one of the favourites for sure, unless it starts to fail in the lead up to it. But look, go back and look at the punters. Go back and watch the Gimcrack Stakes from 2022.
That's crazy.
It's supposed to be a leader of a horse, but in this race we discovered that it can run from everywhere, because it didn't really get the jump it wanted to and settled towards the back. It was last going around the bend. Look at it where it is at the 200 metre mark. It is completely blocked off from getting anywhere near the front. It's still 4 or 5 lengths back. The leading pack of can't even remember who the leading pack was now. Sicilian and Perfect Proposal looked home for all money. The winner was going to be one of those two. Then at the 200 metre mark, the slightest gap opens up. Jubilee reaves all the way around them, and in the last 150, 100 metres, puts 3 or 4 lengths on them and ends up winning by like 2 lengths. It was a phenomenal run.
Mate, it sounds like you're on this horse as well, are you? Or you're just chatting up my tip and you're not even on it.
This is where I get to the horse that I am on.
Oh, here we go.
Because there was a more impressive run on that day, and that was Empire of Japan in the Breeders' Plate. Go back and watch this run. Again, a horse that looks all lost for all money. All of the casual punters were like, nah, gone, too far back. But I was there the day that this horse debuted at the trials out at Randwick, when they march out all the rich 2-year-olds and they debut him, and he ran exactly like he did then. His 2 starts prior, the Breeders' Plate, and then that 2-year-old race a couple of weeks ago, ran the exact same that he did in that first trial, and that's exactly the way he's going to race on Saturday. The only thing that does him does him in is the back marker bias, and the back markers can't make ground. J-Mac will jump. He will find cover. He will go around that bend, probably 4, 5, 6 lengths off the lead. Then he'll just pop out. He'll run past them all. He did it exactly like that in the Breeders' Plate. And again, put about 2, 3 lengths on him and end up dominating the win. I'll find the exact margin now. Hopefully I wasn't embellishing. Hopefully he actually did win by that much. Yeah, put 3 lengths on them.
What about its last start, though?
Its last start,
Third place.
needed a bit of fitness. That was over the 1,100 metre mark. I think this is a horse that gets better over the longer distance he goes. I've actually got a little bit of theory about Empire of Japan. If he's not winning these Magic Millions 2-year-old classics, if he's not winning the Golden Slipper, I think he is going to be a massive horse this coming spring when the distances start to go out for the 2-year-olds. I think he is prime for a 1,400 metre Golden Rose and a 1,600 metre Caulfield Guineas. I think if he doesn't bust after this season, he is going to be a horse that just gets better and better with age and distance. He'll be a perfect mile horse, I reckon. So I think the 1,200 metres, getting up this distance will be awesome. He just ran out of room for that 1,100 metres in the last start. So I reckon J-Mac on board, rides him nice and patient, gets some cover, pops out, runs past them all, and gets his nose over the line.
Fair enough. So I'm going with Platinum Jubilee and you're going to Empire of Japan, mate. So the odds for that, $8.50 for Platinum Jubilee and $2.90 for a place each way. Empire of Japan just at each way odds at the moment, $5 and $2 for a place.
I'd be getting on the Quinella as well. Those are the 2 horses that I am in love with. I fell in love with them at the trials and they've served me well since. But I would also like, just for fun, a cheeky little player on the China Horse Club trifecta. Empire of Japan, Royal Entrance and Sovereign Fun. They're all wearing the same silks, just different hats, and they're all very good chances to win. So I wouldn't mind playing a little trifecta there. But they are all very badly drawn, I think, except for Royal Entrance. I reckon it'll be very handy from that 9th barrier. Timmy Clark on, take it to the lead. But like I said, Empire of Japan runs it down. But we move to the 3-year-old Guineas now, which is even less cut and dry, mate. There's no King of Sparta like there was. We were thinking that there was going to be. Hell, I Am won that Gosford Guineas or Wyong Guineas or whatever it was, looking really well. Casablanca was looking like an amazing horse after it smashed Greece and smashed the track record at Cranbourne. But then Casablanca hasn't even gone. They've spelled him. They've spelled him to have a little bit of a let up to autumn. I was all over Casablanca, had him in all my futures all-in markets. I've lost a bit of money on that. And so now I was left without a tip and I've had to go through the entire field to find one. I had to spend about an hour looking at this race. I can't pick a winner to save myself. At least I think I have punters, but none of them stuck out to me. I had to dig really deep to try and settle on a tip.
Yeah, same here. And I'm going to say it right now, it's taking me 8 races before I get on a tip with J-Mac.
Hey, he's finally on
8
J-Mac.
races. I'm going Russian Conquest, $4.80, $1.95, just out of the each way odds. Yeah, it's a tough one, but I reckon this horse is. I can't pick myself on going to a favourite here, and there's nothing that's really sticking out for me. So I think Russian Conquest is the one that I've tipped a couple of times. It's probably as fit as it's going to get. It's just, yeah, it's 1 second up before. Let's give it a go here. It's going to be Russian Conquest for me.
Russian Conquest of coming a narrow second to Coolangatta in last year's 2-year-old classic fame. Almost beat Coolangatta, so it's a good form to have. Seems to perform on Magic Millions Day. I'm actually getting off J-Mac for once. I've switched over to the other top jockey in Queensland for the weekend, Jamie Carr. Hell I Am. John O'Shea trained. Like I said, shortened heaps in the market after it won that Wyong race. Smashed it, had J-Mac on that day, but it was just a peach run. Ran really good. But then went to the Gosford Guineas and just missed. Just missed by a nose, half a length. Didn't really get the chockies, and then now it's come out to the $10 mark. I just think loves the good track, loves running third up, is probably one of the fitter horses in this race because it's had 2 really strong races to come into it. I just, like I said, went through about an hour. You could probably entertain a good 10 of these horses, just like the 2-year-olds, but I've set it on Hell I Am. Hopefully Jamie just jumps, gets him towards the front of the pack, probably in that first 4 or 5 or so going around that bend, and then hopefully just explodes at the top of the straight. So Hell I Am, $10 to win, $3.30 to place each way is my tip for the 3-year-old Guineas Group 1.
Very nice. Head over to race number 9, mate. Do you want to take us off for that?
Yes, we've got the Magic Millions Cup here. Petronius and Emerald Kingdom, the two to go forward here with Amish Boy and Vega 1 to be steaming home late from the back. Honestly, there are a handful of horses that I like the look of here, but I've settled on Oscar Zulu. Best work comes in the dry. Best work comes fresh. Best work comes at this distance. J-Mac again. Sorry, punters, but I'm all over J-Mac this day. J-Mac Waller combo, $7 to win, $2.50 to place. Take my money. I've backed it before. It's won for me before. Hopefully it does it again. Oscar Zulu all the way in the cup.
Yeah, I'm going Love Tap here. Timmy Clark on board, $11 and $3.50 for a place. Ran a trial couple just after Christmas, and only fell one length off the win, so it looks pretty nice there. Comes into obviously a bit longer distance, an extra 400 metres from the trial. Hit the line pretty well, so I'm liking the look of it. Been all over this horse before. $11 and $3.50, pretty nice. Heading to the last here, 1,300 metres, racing, obviously another $1 million race. I'm going to keep it pretty simple here. I'm going with the favourite, Alpine Edge, J-Mac again here, $3. I think it's just too good here. Second last start in Toowoomba behind Yellow Brick, who's running in the 3-year-old.
Favourite for the 3-year-olds.
It's a favourite, sorry. So pretty good form to go off. So yeah, it's going to be Alpine Edge for me.
I'm going to go with Wisdom of Water here. Loves the Gold Coast. Its form is very spotty. As you look back, it's got 10th, 4th, 11th, 4th, and 4th out of 4 horses there. So, you look at that and you think, ooh, not very good of a choice there. But does best work on the good tracks, does best work at Gold Coast, does the best work at this distance. Rachel King goes on board. The only factor I'm not liking is it is in the car park, 15th out of 15 barriers. Hopefully a couple scratchings bring her closer to the rail, but I think King can just jump and be really handy there. Otherwise it's going to get stuck wide. Hopefully gets her over towards the rail, gets some cover of some kind, and then hopefully lets it do its thing in the straight. We go back a few starts, and it came 4th behind I Am Me by only 2 lengths. I Am Me is an elite sprinter going around at the moment. It's now been spelled. It's going to Group 1s in the autumn. It's going to be going in Group 1s in the spring. I have a feeling that I Am Me is going to get a slot in the Everest. So 2 lengths off a potential Everest runner reads really well to me. So Wisdom of Water loves the Gold Coast. Hopefully salutes here again. $9 to win, $2.70 to place each way on a bit of a value horse to finish off the day.
Very, very nice.
All right, mate. Of course, it's not the Quaddie Poddy without the Quaddie. In race 7, we've got Empire of Japan, Skirt the Law, Platinum Jubilee, and Sovereign Fund. In race 8, we've got Russian Conquest, Hell I Am, Yellow Brick, and Tijuana.
Race 9, Oscar Zulu, Emerald Kingdom, Love Tap and Amish Boy. Race 10, Alpine Edge, Wisdom of Water, L Troop, and Indiscreetly. $50 gets you 19.5%. Just before we hit the sign-off, mate, just a couple of around the grounds. I don't know if you've got
I haven't got any, so go right ahead.
Flemington race number 5, Forbidden City, looks pretty nice. Race number 6, Flemington Western Empire, $8.50 for the win. And then Here to Shock, favourite Flemington race number 7, $3.10. Those 3 are my 3 Flemington tips. Pretty nice.
Fair enough. I'll have a full card of Rosehill tips up on the website, of course, themocksports.com.au. Every Saturday I'll be running down Rosehill, whether or not we're running down Rosehill on the podcast as well. And I'll probably maybe have a hack at some runner-by-runner guides for the 2-year-old and 3-year-old classics. So get keen, we'll make sure to go to themocksports.com.au to see those when they go up. You've got a couple of articles up there as well, mate.
Got a couple more coming, a couple about the cricket. Obviously, I don't know. I'd say it was a pretty disappointing summer of cricket. Just poor talent from the South Africans and the West Indies.
We were expecting bigger things from South Africa, weren't we?
They were meant to be the second best test team. I don't know. I don't want to answer.
We're not a cricket podcast just yet. Anything else to say to the punters before we sign off?
No, thank you, Bella Vista, letting us use the facilities here.
Bella Vista Hotel, thank you for that.
I always forget to say that.
Yes,
so
in the studio at Bella Vista Hotel. If you've got a podcast that you want to record in, head down to the BVH to record in. And if you're still listening, make sure to give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Make sure to follow us, subscribe to us, share us, because it's only going to make us get bigger. It's going to let us attract some giveaways from some big companies. We'll be able to run competitions. We'll be able to expand even more than we are. Like we said, 2023 is the year of the mock. We're going to expand quite a bit, but we can't do that without your support. And we appreciate the support you're already giving us, but anything more you can send our way, we love you for it.
Thanks, lads. Enjoy.
See you next week. Not next week. Oh, see you in a few weeks. I'm so used to next week mode when we're on the podcast. See you in a few weeks. I believe the Autumn Carnival kicks off in the first couple of weeks of February. So in about a month time, you'll be ready to tune on in again. And next week, the interview with Gary Moore on Off the Track. So good luck this weekend. Gamble responsibly.
Crone's getting a split. Mizzy in front of the 100. Crone goes up the inside and Crone takes